if I could request the participants to please switch on their cameras. We would love to know that we have all of you with us. I can see your cameras. Rajesh sir, I don't think Vaishnavi has joined yet. Could you just check if she's there? Also, Gungun, I think your camera might be on a heat seeker mode or something. Because right now the visual I'm getting on my screen is reminiscent. Rajesh sir, could you please confirm? I think Rajesh sir is calling Vaishnavi to check if she has joined. In the meantime, let me just quickly take you through some basic rules. Each speaker first gets 5 minutes of argument time. You place the arguments that you've prepared. The topic has already been shared with you, so you have had 48 hours to prepare. Once you make your initial 5 minutes of arguments, you get scored out of 95. And then you come back for the rebuttal, which is for another 5 points. So you get a total score out of 100 given to you by 3 judges. There are 2 adjudicators, one from each school, and a neutral adjudicator from our end. Today we are very privileged to have Ms. Meghana Laha as the neutral adjudicator. Meghana was working with the World Bank. She holds an MPA from SIPA, which is the School of Public Affairs in the University of Columbia, New York. And she also holds an MS from the University of Rhode Island. We have Meghana with us today as the neutral adjudicator. I'm sure at the end she would come in and, as usual, do a wonderful summary of the entire debate. Before we start, we are very privileged to be powered by Stayfree. Stayfree is a Johnson & Johnson brand that does a phenomenal amount of great work for women's hygiene, particularly young women just entering their puberty. Here's a short message from them before we start.
मेरे पीरियड शुरू हो गए हैं।
पहली बार हो रहे हैं मुझे, तो काफी अजीब लग रहा है।
पीरियड्स में मुझे आसान काम भी मुश्किल लगता है। बहुत दर्द होता है।
मैं किसी के पास बैठ भी नहीं सकती और जब मैं उठती हूँ बार-बार निशान चेक करती हूँ।
घर में एक ही वॉशरूम है, तो पैड चेंज करने में मुझे शर्म आती है।
मुझे पैड को कचरे में छोड़ना पड़ता है हर बार।
She may not understand what she's going through. She just needs to know. You do. Over 2 million girls will get their first period in lockdown. Your daughter or sister could be one of them. Talk to her. Tell her.
It's normal. It's just a period.
Well, after that heartwarming message from Stayfree, and I can see that Vaishnavi is joining. I can see that she's connecting to the audio, so let's just wait until she has audio because she will need this as well. Meghana, there's something wrong with your camera because if you've seen the movie Predator, that's how you're looking right now. So if you would please check your connectivity. Vaishnavi, could you connect to the audio? If you could hear us, if you could unmute yourself and just confirm. I can see that Vaishnavi is trying to connect to audio, ladies and gentlemen. So just give us a minute or two and we'll just start. Vaishnavi, do you have audio now? Yes, I think you do. Well, this is the topic today. This house believes language has been a casualty of development in communications. And perfect. I can see all of you now. All your cameras are working great. Thank you for joining us. This is the topic that we are debating today. This house believes that language has been a casualty of development in communications. How you choose to interpret the topic, how you argue, we are all very eager to see. These are the two teams from DAV Kathmandu, Nepal. We have Umesh sir, who will be the adjudicator. Raman would be speaking for the motion while Gungun speaks against the motion. From the Westberry, Tenali, we have Rajesh Vuleti sir, who is the adjudicator. Meghana is speaking for the motion while Vaishnavi goes against the motion. This is the speaking order. Raman, you're going first, speaking for the motion. You will have 5 minutes, followed by Vaishnavi, followed by Meghana, and finally Gungun. Right? So if Raman, you're ready, we would first love to know a little bit more about you.
Greetings, everyone. So I'm a 12th grader all the way from Nepal. Pretty fascinated about adventure and love nunchucks and stuff. Like, really fascinated about that.
All right, Raman the adventurer, if you're ready with your arguments, we would start your time now.
Okay, so greetings, everyone. So I'm speaking for the motion, and in the topic, language has been casualty of development in communication. What's up, everyone? You all understand that, right? Of course you did, because we are in 2020. If you were all the way back in 90s, you won't have understand that, because there was no what's up, the word what's up in 90s. There was hi, how are you doing in 90s. Language varies according to time. In this modern world, language change is often socially problematic. As people observe, language change is the often reaction is language is going down through the hill. You've never seen old people saying that my child's language is so nice, like we didn't have it before. But it's not like that right now. They tend to complain about it. William Shakespeare, one of the greatest personality, a writer, a dramatist who conveyed that, who wrote one of the beautiful drama, Romeo and Juliet, which I tried to study and I got stuck in the second line. I couldn't understand the other parts. I say I don't need these evolutions if I can't understand the writings of William Shakespeare. I needed somebody to understand that. Now let's see how communication has developed throughout the time. We went from emails, letters to instant messages to telegrams to we went from letters to telegrams to emails to instant messages. The way we use English have changed in that order. We use abbreviation now. We use LOL. We use IKR. We use GTZ. Can't we just use a whole term right now? Huh? Is this new incorrect language universally understood or what? Do we really need this evolvement of language? Because all the thing I see is only misunderstanding and misconception about this language. We use emojis. Can't we describe our feelings through words and sentences? That we need emojis? Those yellow looking creatures. So after all this, we can understand why language is so important. We can understand how language is so important. Hiroshima and Nagasaki attack, we all know that. That was one of the example of miscommunication. What Japan sent a letter and what America read about it. Communication technology has gradually increased, but in the same rate, language has decreased. As we have jumped from the era, have jumped in this era where we have completely lost the essence of English language and various other languages. This is very awful. Due to that, if this continues, then in next 30 to 40 years, I don't think so we can be able to understand our own language completely or properly. So back to the moderator. Thank you.
Well done, Raman. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheets. If you could please fill in Raman's scores on the sheets that you have. If you face any hurdles in scoring, I'm always here to help. Meghana, I have your score. Thank you so much. Meghana, the participant. Remember, this is Meghana, the judge, so don't get confused.
I guess she's Meghana, and I'm Meghana.
Right. Let's see if I am getting the pronunciation wrong when she comes on to speak. But first, we will need the scores. I can see Umesh sir's scores coming in. I can see Rajesh sir's scores coming in as well. We will just give them a few minutes to enter the scoring. Raman, we will BRB with the scores. Umesh sir, once you fill in the top score, you will have to fill in the scores below as well. So all the scores except row number 9, which is the rebuttal score, you will have to fill up. So if you can see this sheet, the cells I'm highlighting right now, these are the cells you will have to fill up, please. Rajesh sir, we will need the scores in the last 3 rows, rows 12, 13 and 14. Raman, just a second. We will have your scores up in a bit. I will just need a moment to tabulate the scores as and when they come in. Umesh sir, these 3 rows at the bottom, please. 12, 13 and 14. Rajesh sir, I have your scores. May I take them as final, please? Umesh sir, may I take that as your final score?
Yep.
Thank you so much, sir. So Raman, if you are seeing the screen, these are your scores up on the screen now. A fairly wide range, but I think well done. Let's see how Vaishnavi does. Vaishnavi, you're up next. Vaishnavi, before we start your arguments, we would love to know you a little bit better. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Which class you're in? Anything that you want to tell us?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Vaishnavi, and I'm from grade 12, Westberry School. My hobbies include reading books. I'm deeply interested in archaeology and history.
Wonderful, Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi, I think you're on a handheld device, so that's moving around a little bit. Possible to keep it in one place?
Yes, I'll just give me a second.
Sure. Well, to the audience, I must say that I know that every debate we have a few hiccups, but imagine this is for most of these participants the first time addressing an audience of this size, and that too doing it online. And I think they have done a phenomenal effort. All the schools that have participated so far, today's Match 21. Yes, Vaishnavi, we can see you now clearly. Thank you so much. If you are ready with your arguments, we will start your time. Remember to unmute yourself. We will start your time now.
Nelson Mandela once said, "Without language, one cannot talk to people and understand them. One cannot share their hopes and aspirations, grasp their history, appreciate their poetry, or savor their songs." A very heartfelt good afternoon, honorable adjudicator, moderator, all the noble opponents, and the esteemed audience. Today, I put forth my opinions, which are against the House beliefs, and elucidate that language is not the casualty of developments in communication. Before anything else, let's first see the meaning of communication. The word communication is derived from the Latin word communicare, which means sharing or exchange of information. Now, coming to the point, how do we actually communicate? This is done in two ways, verbally and non-verbally. Any communication comprises of these two actions. At this point, I would like to raise some questions. If language, in fact, is a barrier, how do, with due respect, the hearing impaired people understand us? How do the pets, the animals who don't understand our language, still are emotionally akin to us? Why would the characters such as Mr. Bean and Charlie Chaplin, which was silent, made us laugh so loud, not even without orating a word? Why do we vibe to the songs such as Despacito or Con Calma despite not understanding them? If language was the main problem in communication, none of the above things would have happened. Communication, without doubt, can be done completely in a non-verbal way. These include use of body language, hand gestures, face expressions, etc. De facto, 93% of general human interaction comprises of non-verbal behavior and tone, and only 7% is through use of words. I don't think that vulnerable 7% of words can affect the rest of the communication. Language, in truth, helps the communication to be clearer, apprehensible, and unambiguous. It helps to make someone understand your intended message just the way you want, without any misunderstanding. Sometimes, when body language proves to be vain and create distances, speaking out the correct words help restore the condition. As a hawk doesn't fly high with one wing, just like that, only one way of expressing doesn't help understand the whole content. In this modern era, where increased technology has made it smooth to reach out and speak your mind globally, where a platform is made for every language to be expressed, it is not at all right to say that a proper language separates mankind. Today, we use Google translators and many more language apps, which makes us feel welcome and understood, even in the midst of foreign people. In this case, the thoughts that are thought by us are what matters. Being able to channelize them into words is more important. It's the content that matters, not the language it is expressed in. Due to our unseemly thinking of generalizing everything the way we want, we have lost over 220 languages in the past 5 decades. We always want to use a common bridge for expressing anything, and we cut short the content as much as possible by using abbreviations or short notes. But we never ever realize with every letter that we minimize and delete, the matter is also somehow deleted and left incomplete to be misunderstood. Just like a group of drops make oceans, a group of deleted words make an extinct language. As a language dies, its ancient knowledge dies as well. We must not fail to respect language because it's the only thing which helps us feel understood. We must compromise our rigid thinking of giving importance to this need of shortcuts, which just destroy the beautiful ethnicity of the whole language. I would like to conclude with saying a small Arabic code: learn a language and you will avoid a war. Thank you. Over to the moderator.
Well done, Vaishnavi. Beautifully argued there. Let's see how the judges are scoring you. Meghna, I have your scores. Can I take that as final?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Meghna. Judges, please note Vaishnavi's scoring is in the last column to your right. I can see Umesh sir's scores coming in. Thank you, sir, for scoring them. I can see Rajesh sir's scores coming in. Thank you, sir. Vaishnavi, you'll have to give us a few minutes. We will get your scores across to you as quickly as we can. Umesh sir, I have your score. May I take that as final, please?
Yes, sir. You can take it as final.
Thank you so much, sir. Rajesh sir, I have your score as well. I'll take that. Well, Vaishnavi, if you can see your screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes of arguments. Very well done. Meghna, you're up next. First, you'll have to resolve the doubt if you are Meghana or Meghna.
Myself, Meghna.
All right. See, I got that right. So, Meghna, we would love to know you a little bit more.
I am studying grade 12 in Westberry School, Tenali, and I am deeply interested in dance and I love to hear music.
Wonderful, Meghna. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time now.
Communication is only effective when we communicate in a meaningful way. A wonderful afternoon to all the dignitaries here. Myself, Meghna, studying grade 12 from Westberry School. Today, I speak for the notion that is, language has been a casualty for development in communication. Firstly, I would like to speak about what communication is and importance of communication. Communication, meaningful interaction between two human beings. Communication helps us with the flow of information. It helps to increase human relationships. It prepares people to accept change because communication is the best tool a person can have to make people respond to any kind of change positively. It helps in learning management skills. It helps boost morale and motivation. And now coming to the point, we have gone from letters to telegrams, to emails, to instant messages. And now we use emojis and abbreviations. According to me, this is a good change. While we move towards greater democracy and the digital world, evolution of language is very important. Through evolved language, we are able to communicate better through emojis and abbreviations, irrespective of local languages. The great thing about instant messaging is that it is instantaneous as telephone conversations. While face-to-face interactions and meetings are, of course, still beneficial. Instant messages communication more convenient and accessible even if those you need to communicate are countries away. It allows for a group communication. It supports other forms of communication. It promotes employee engagement. It breaks down barriers like communication done through instant messaging is more likely, is more convenient, and is more comfortable and is more understandable than verbal communication. And nowadays, this type of communication is also very beneficial during war times while using coding, etc. Even undercover operations and any investigations done secretly. And now coming to the examples of instant messagings. The most popular one, WhatsApp, we use every day for instant messaging to message anyone, to our relatives who is near us, or far us and miles away. Skype, Viber, Messenger and WeChat are some of the examples. And now I would like to put forward the question. You know what world is with communication? Can you imagine it without communication? If so, how? And so I would like to conclude stating that this type of communication is very important. Language charges and moves in a different direction, evolving all the time. Where few see deterioration, I see expressive development. So the language can still evolve, enabling the users to communicate easily. Thank you.
Thank you, Meghna. Well done. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, you have access to the scoring sheets. Thank you, the scores coming in. Meghna, I think you have put in the scores in a different column. Would you mind if I shifted them?
Yes, I think you can. I'll shift it myself if you want.
Done.
Yeah, that was. Okay.
Thank you. Just a minute, Meghna, while we get all the scores in and tabulate them for you. Rajesh sir, the score in row 9, we will put that in later once the rebuttal is over. Thank you so much. Umesh sir, I will need the score in row 12. Rajesh sir, I have your scores. Thank you. Umesh sir, I have your score as well. Thank you so much. Meghna, if you're seeing the screen, these are your scores after your first 5 minutes up on the screen now. Not too bad, well done, but I'm sure you can improve in the rebuttal. Well, I can see Gungun intently practicing her speech. Gungun, if you can hear us, it is your turn. We would love to know you a little bit better before you start.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Gungun Joshi from grade 12, DAV school, and my hobbies are to listen to the music and even to read the non-fictitious books, which are actually based on real lives of the people.
Wonderful, Gungun. If you're ready with your arguments, we will start your time now.
Well, a very famous scientist, Albert Einstein, who once invented a very famous equation, E is equal to mc square, which was invented in 1905, where people used to think that what does that mean, and had no conception that what actually that equation is trying to say. But according to the development of communication and the improvement in languages, we came to know that that language means something, that equation means something so important, which is actually really necessary for we all people to know. As my parents, my family members used to make me understand it in a way that in class 10, when we used to study all these things, my parents used to make me understand it in a way that think as if you are with your family members going outside somewhere for a day, for a weekend, and then you realize that the time went so soon. But at the same time, when we are sitting on a hot pan, and you realize that the time is going so slow that you don't even be able to sit on that just for a 1 second. And that's what that's what made me realize that what is actually that equation is trying to understand. And that's how a language is simplified, the language is evolved, and that's how we understand it in such a simple way. Saying this is me, Gungun Joshi from grade 12, in front of you all on the topic, language has been a casualty of development in communication and speaking against the motion, for which I truly agree that it's actually is not a casualty at all. To my opponent friend, firstly, I just want to make them understand that if you're saying that language is a casualty, then let me make you clear that it's not called a casualty. It's an evolution that we all have accepted. It's a natural and a universal accepted evolution that we all agree with. Language, which we are talking about, is an art, is a beauty which is being evolved with the time and which is being changed and which will be changing according to a natural process. We need to agree with the point that as we say that if my opponent friends are saying that we are losing our native languages or millennial lingos that we talk about, if we are losing it, then let me make them clear about that as well, that it's a universally accepted, and the emojis and the abbreviations that we are using, that's not that people don't understand it. In this 21st century where we are using all these things, people understand it well rather than talking in a Shakespearean language. Let me give you an example of in a Shakespeare example only. With mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come. This was said by William Shakespeare in 1596 to 1598, where we consider that as such a complicated language these days. How many of you understood this, what I said right now? With mirth and laughter, let the wrinkles come on our cheeks. No one understands that. But at the same time, when I say that, dude, you made me laugh, or that was funny, lol. Many of us, in a majority, people understand this. And that's what evolution is all about. It's about a preference that we are giving to a language. It's not about that we are making it as a casual, or language has been a casualty. Not at all. I don't agree with it, because I believe that language is an evolution where we all are accepting it. The most perfect example that I can keep here regarding this is, it is a sort of a democracy, you know, everyone believes in it, everyone accepts it, and that's what language is all about. It's for the people, from the people, and by the people. And yes, exactly, there's not a single person who is saying that you need to speak this sort of a language, or you need to apply these sort of things while talking or while communicating with each other. Not at all. It's just your choice, your preference, what you prefer to. We believe that what we accept is true, what is universally accepted is actually right, then we should actually believe that language has never been a casualty. I believe that language has always been a perfect path for us where we can communicate in a simplified way, and that's what I want to make everyone agree about. Evolution is a normal word. Let me give another example, which is of a pajamas, which was actually taken from a colonial Indian word and was taken into a British language, which was accepted overall. And that's the only reason why now people recognize pajamas. Whenever we talk about, people's mindset is that's the most comfortable thing that we wear right now, and which is from a colonial word which has never been distinct. If we say that it has been a casual thing, then no, not at all. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Well done, Gungun, putting evolution against the terminology of casualty. Let's see how the judges score you on that. Judges, if you could pull in your scores. Meghna, have your score. Thank you so much. I can see Umesh sir scores coming in. I can see Rajesh sir scores coming in as well. Umesh sir, have your score? May I take that as final?
Yes, sir. That's the final.
Rajesh sir, have your score as well? I'll take that as final.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
So Gungun, if you can see the screen, these are your scores at the end of 5 minutes of your initial arguments up on the screen now. Very well done. Yeah, you can give yourself that smile. Some high scores up on the board, but let's see how the rebuttal goes. Raman, we'll come back to you for the rebuttal. You will have 2 minutes to rebut the points made by the opposition bench. First, let's unmute yourself. Remember, you're not rebutting the opponent's school. You have 2 members in the opposition bench, which are Vaishnavi and Gungun. You are going to rebut the points that they made. If you're ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
Am I audible, sir, first?
Yeah, you're loud.
So my opponent friend talked about instant messages. Let's look how instant messages are. How are you? How, H-O-W, how are and you, not A-R-E, are. So what does that indicate? Those grammars we learn in school, all those, what about those, like all the exams we give, what about those? And so I questioned my opponent friend that, can you understand the writings of Shakespeare and other old writers or the old playwriters? Can you understand those? Because it is really tough to understand right now, because all of those due to evolution of language. See, there are 2 meanings of LOL. Lots of love and laugh out loud. So if I tell you LOL, what will you understand? There are 2 meanings of it. And this misinterpretation, this miscommunication have been coming throughout the ages. And this has been creating confusion in humanity. And since it's, miscommunication has created a lot of war, which has victimized the language. Thank you. Thank you all.
Well done, Raman, keeping it short and sweet, sticking to the time limit. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, the row that you had left out earlier for Raman, please put in your scores there. Meghna, have your score. Thank you so much. And I have all 3 scores. Thank you so much, judges. Well, Raman, this is where I play the evil moderator, and I won't show you your score. We will wait for all the rebuttals to get over before we circle back with everybody's scores. So you'll have to wait a little patiently. Vaishnavi, you're up next. Please unmute yourself so that you don't lose time.
Yes, sir.
If you are ready with your rebuttal, we will start your time now.
Yeah. So, as my opponents spoke, LOL, doesn't it change with the person we are talking to? When we are talking to a friend, LOL may mean laugh out loud. And when we are talking to someone near and dear, LOL means lots of love. So I think in communication, as I already stated, non-verbal communication, it plays a very much important role. And that is what decides how the words are felt by the other person, how the words are taken by the other person. I don't think that we should think that the change is bad. No, if we haven't changed, we wouldn't have been surviving still. Like like Gungun said, that evolution is very important, and just like we have to accept change which comes in our life with this modern technology and with the cost of living. How do you know that typing every word in a book costs how every letter costs something. It costs ink, it costs page, and if we can delete a letter from it, we may save much time and money on that. And in this developing economy where we have to take care of the money spent and everything, uh, l- cut shorting it's okay as long as we understand. And emojis are always there for our facial expressions, where facial expressions they matter a lot. I would just like to include a point here. As we all know now, due to this pandemic, we are all attending our Google classes, right? Why are we asked to open the video and not only audio? Because audio in interaction with video is what matters. So thank you. I would like to conclude with that.
Well done, Vaishnavi. Just in the nick of time. Your 2-minute bell had just sounded when you ended. I'm sure the judges will take that into note. Judges, if you could put in Vaishnavi's scores, that's the 4th column. Umesh sir, I have your score. Thank you so much. Meghna, I have your score. Thank you. Rajesh sir, I have your score as well. Thank you. Well, as I said, I am going to let you know your scores only after all 4 rebuttals are done. So now it's Meghna's turn. Meghna?
And now adding to Umesh, as one of my opponent told that Charlie Chaplin and Mr. Bean didn't use any language. That is just for the entertainment. And now coming to the daily life, we definitely need a language to express. We can't just show actions and just move on with our life. It definitely needs a language to be spoken about and to be understood. And coming to emojis is also a type of communication where the language has been evolved. Emojis is not a language. It's definitely a language. So though it is an evolution, language is essential for everyone in daily use. So thank you.
Meghna, well done. Keeping it short and sweet. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, if you could put in Meghna's scores. Meghna, the judge, I have your score. Umesh sir, I have your score as well. Thank you. And Rajesh sir, I have your score too. Thank you so much. Well, Gungun, it is now your turn. You've heard everybody speak. I'm sure you're dying to go after them on the rebuttal. So if you're ready, we will start your time for the rebuttal now.
Yes, very well said that my opponent friend, everyone said that about using lol. My opponent friend said that that means laugh out loud and lots of love. But may I make my opponent friend clear that if we search it in a Google as well, if we find a meaning or full form of LOL, we just get laugh out loud. None of the full forms we get as lots of love, which surely clears that there's no any sort of misunderstanding. It's just a creation that we are making. And as my friend only said, and against the motion, well, in the rebuttal, that if you're talking about all these things, then that surely a person can indicate it, whether that does means laugh out loud or lots of love. It's just a sense of, it's just a common sense that a person can use of his or her. And also, if talking about the point that I was talking of evolution, then yes, if my opponent friends are still on the point that it's a casualty or they're saying that it's actually a death of a language, then no, not at all, because let me make them clear about that as well, that in dictionary as well, if we see, then more than 500 words are being added in every year rather than getting decreased every year. And that's what I want to make them clear, that there's no any sort of a casualty. But if talking about evolution, we can make a sense that language is being evolved, and that's what is going to happen in future as well, as it's a natural process which is accepted universally and which we need to accept in our further life as well. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gungun. Very well done. Let's see how the judges score you. Judges, if you could put in Gungun's scores as well so that we can have the scores for all 4 contestants. Meghana, I have your score. Thank you. Umesh sir, I have your score as well. And Rajesh sir, I have your score too. This is when I will further play the role of the evil moderator. I will keep you in suspense a little while longer. Remember, we do have an audience poll at this. So audience, hang on to your seats because you eventually get to choose who has been this best speaker today. And the school with the best speaker wins 25 additional points over and above what these brilliant contestants have gotten from the judges so far. It is now time that I tell you a little bit about Notebook. We at Notebook as an organization try to make studies more fun and more interesting through the use of video lessons. We make these small 6 to 10 minute videos based on your school curriculum. That is the topics in your book. You would find them as videos, short, crisp videos available for your use whenever you want to, wherever you want to. And these are especially helpful for teachers as well, because teachers, when now they're taking classes online, they can play a 6 to 10 minute video and then start up their online class, get a hook of interest into the students before starting the lessons. Once the lesson completes, you are done with your class, maybe your exams are in 6 months' time. That's when you can open your personal device or laptop or a phone and watch the same video over again so that you can revise and remember what the teacher had taught you in class. What I'm going to do is show you a small clip of one of the Notebook videos. This is from the class 11 history lesson, Paths to Development China. If you can roll the video, please.
Hello students, welcome to Notebook. On May 4th, 2019, Chinese President Xi Jinping celebrated the fierce patriotism of the students and demonstrators of the countrywide protests, which had started on the 4th of May 1919 in Tiananmen Square in Beijing. The students and protesters had believed that the government had no self-respect as it was selling out China to foreign powers. They resented Japanese occupation of Shandong in China. The students' movement had turned violent and some were arrested as a result. China's current strict regime would never have allowed student protests to take the massive form it took in 1919. Last year, Xi Jinping still honored the patriotism and vigor of the students which had happened 100 years back. Physician, philosopher and politician Sun Yat-sen was engaged in decade-long rebellions till the overthrow of the Qing dynasty through the Xinhai Revolution. Warlordism or feudalism was still prevalent in China around this time, and many wanted a democratic government free from foreign control and feudal authority. China had come in contact with the West when trade links had opened up between China and Britain and other countries. They were influenced by Western philosophy and thought that Mr. Science and Mr. Democracy could save them from subjugation to foreign powers, bring national unity, and help them become a sovereign nation. The people who wanted a democratic and progressive China were also influenced by past Qing reformers like Kang Youwei and Liang Qichao. These reformers had campaigned for modernization of China by breaking links with Confucianism or traditional Chinese philosophy and ethics, which they thought was hindering the country's progress. The May 4th protesters also directed the government's attention to the social, economic, and gender inequalities existing in their society. Chinese women were subjected to derogatory practice of foot binding, for example. The May 4th protests sparked a demand for anti-imperialism, a China free from foreign concessions, created sentiments of nationalism among the Chinese, and also influenced the leadership of the Communist Party of China formed in the later years. Students like Chen Duxiu and Li Dazhao often occupied leadership positions within this party. The Kuomintang or the National People's Party, and the Communist Party of China, CCP, became the controlling forces in the country.
Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was a short clip from one of the notebook videos. We have here with us Achin Bhattacharyya. Achin is the founder and CEO of Notebook. We would love to hear from him about today's debate, how it has been so far. Achin is a chartered accountant by training. He was a director at Deloitte before starting Notebook. Achin, if you're there, can we have you say a few words?
Good afternoon, everyone. Really great to see so much of enthusiasm and effort in our young debaters. Meghana, Gungun, Vaishnavi and Raman, good show. Keep it up. I'm sure you'll only get better with time. Now, a couple of things that I'd like to mention here. First and foremost, I'll encourage all of you to continuously keep on working on your public speaking skills. Trust me, this is something which will be a lifelong asset, irrespective of any profession that you choose for yourself in your journey of life. This is something which will always help you. And very often, success not only depends on domain knowledge, but also on soft skills, on your gift of gab, and the way you come across, which I guess is as important as your domain knowledge, if not more. Another very important aspect is the entire sense of purpose and being objective. When you step out of your school campus and step into a much larger world, the society will look forward to your inputs and views on various issues, as debate, discussion, and public discourse are at the heart of any vibrant democracy, right? So please ensure that you never lose your sense of purpose when you debate on various issues with your fellow citizens, as your endeavor should always be to find out what is right and not who is right. Thus, it's important to be flexible, to be receptive to the other person's point of view. So being a patient listener is as important as being a good speaker. Because unless you are tolerant enough to listen to each other's views, you may miss out on some very important perspective which someone may bring to the table. Now, coming to Notebook, we are extremely humbled at being able to host 0 Hour for students and also Together for Education webinar for esteemed educators and parents. And today we have more than 10,000 videos in public domain, just like the one you saw, which are accessed by more than 1 million users. I again thank all the participants. And I guess another thing which is very important is the spirit of participation, which should be your main takeaway. Because exposure in an international platform like this, when I see schools connecting with schools from different parts of the globe, students coming across, speaking to each other, interacting with each other, exchanging views, I guess that's most important. So to me, all of you are winners for your performance, which I'm sure will get better with passage of time. I also thank both the adjudicators and principals of both the schools and the teachers who have helped in shaping up the contestants. Indeed, all of us are forever indebted to our teachers for their priceless contribution to our lives. I also congratulate the proud parents. And I thank the audience for their active encouragement and support to our young debaters. It's important to come together as civil society during this hour of pandemic and keep the spirits of our children high. We look forward to see all of you in our next 0 Hour debate today at 5 p.m. Thank you. Take care and goodbye. Over to you, Shubhai.
Thank you so much, Achin, for those kind words. We are also very proud to have partnered with Save the Children. As most of you already know, Save the Children is an NGO that is more than 100 years old now. They turned 100 last year. And they do some phenomenal work across the globe in saving childhoods of so many who are less fortunate than we are. Here's a short message from their CEO, Ms. Bidisha Pillai.
Save the Children was born in 1919. 100 years is not a milestone that many organizations or individuals can claim to have reached. And for us, it's been a tireless, relentless journey to ensure that every child has access to their rights. Every child has a voice. But when we look back at 100 years, because 100 is also a time to reflect, we wonder what it would be like to live in a world where children don't need to be saved. Perhaps we could live in a world where Save the Children does not need to exist. And so as we look at the future, we envision a world which is much kinder to its children. A world in which children no longer need to be protected from violence. Where children are not needlessly dying before they turn 5. Where every child is going to school, is learning, is playing, and is on that path towards fulfilling their full potential. As we turn 100, we pledge to work towards that future of a much kinder and brighter world for children. Every day, every hour, every minute, we will continue on that path. But we also know we can't do it alone. We want to work closely with the communities, with our partners, with the government, and most importantly with the children themselves. They are going to be the change makers of tomorrow. Children like Onoyara, like Rahul, like Salman, like Mamta, they are the ones who are breaking gender stereotypes. They are challenging social norms, and they are changing the world and the lives of themselves and also children around them. We pledge to continue working with them, alongside them, to ensure that every child gets the right start. I'm Bidisha Pillai, and I invite you to join Save the Children in our commitment to ensure that every child gets the right start.
Well, I know I have created enough suspense. All of you possibly hate me right now for keeping you from your scores, so I will not delay this any further. So the two ski teams from DAV Sushil Kedia Vishwa Bharati School, Kathmandu, Nepal, and the Westberry School, Tenali, Andhra Pradesh. These are your scores out of 100, out of your 5 minutes of debating and 2 minutes of rebuttal. Raman, you finished with 73, Vaishnavi at 74, Meghna at 70, and Gungun at 85. Very well done, all of you, and these are therefore your school's averages. DAV School Nepal, you average 79. Westberry School Tenali, you average 72. Which means DAV Nepal leads by 7 points, which is a very, very slim margin because there are 25 points yet to be decided. And audience, this is where you get to play a role. I will now start a poll on your screen. You will see 4 names up on your screen that you will have to choose from. You will have 1 minute to cast your vote, and you should see the names on your screen now. You have 1 minute to choose your favorite speaker of the day, and I can see that the votes are coming in. The participants can see them as well. We are about halfway in, and we've had 78% of the votes coming in. Just a few more people yet to vote, and we have 20 seconds on the clock. And it's a minute up. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the results of how you have voted. And I think the audience agrees with the judges. Gungun Joshi from the DAV Sushil Kedia Vishwa Bharati School, Kathmandu, Nepal. with the highest audience votes at 48%. Very, very well done. While I tabulate the final scores and show you your final tally, can I invite the neutral judge, Meghana? Meghana, could you please come sum up today's debate? We've had some very interesting arguments today. Let's see what you think about that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Shubhayu. You beat me on Meghna and Meghana. So I'll take it from there, I guess, today evening. Well, I'm very glad to share that both the schools have debated, and not only from two different national geographies, but also have widely different cultures. Tenali is a small town in Andhra Pradesh and is quite popular for its art and cultural dramas. Nepal, of course, we all know is rich in its own traditions and indigenous forms of dance with an enormous linguistic history of its own. So Notebook is honored to provide both these schools a platform for online debating and possibly on the rightmost topic. Let me say that historically languages have always followed their own paths of evolution through changing expressions and dialects. The world's oldest language, and possibly the source to all other languages, Sanskrit, has changed its role from a means of communication to a language most often used in rituals and worship nowadays. So languages have seen evolution through ages, with mixes and matches happening with new settlements, colonization, immigration, and advent of new cultures. Here, the topic debates whether or not such evolution has finally empowered languages intrinsically or have distorted them beyond their own patterns of use. India and Europe have formed the bedrock of such language transformations, given birth to thousands of dialects. We all know that. The dialects actually mingle and merge with local pronunciations, with political and cultural variations playing a predominant role in their formation. Yugoslavia is a very good example. It had only one language called the Serbo-Croatian, but after a political split in the 90s, 4 different languages evolved: Bosnian, Serbian, Montenegrin, and Croatian. So such evolution happens with changing thoughts and expressions. Such progression may somewhat also come with distortions and is an integral part of language formation. So my friends, let's argue in this way. Language and means of communication are different. Communication could be shortened, made brief, and very inappropriately handled while we keep the language part intact. As an example, ways of greetings and expression for condolences have totally changed nowadays. My personal experience, and I'm feeling compelled to say this on this platform, that nowadays it's a half a second thing for us to abbreviate rest in peace as RIP for a past soul. So common, so embarrassing, we forget to offer a last minute respect and thoughtlessly comment on someone's loved one passing away. Thus, forms of communication may need self-evaluation, as eventually it becomes part of a personality of people regionally and cannot be excused as a direct function of socially created practices. With that, I would like to end my session here. Thanks for this patient hearing. My earnest thanks to everyone who joined and participated in this session. Special thanks to the school principals, adjudicators, and participants from both the schools. It's been an enormously rewarding session, even for us judges, to see such effective debating being done from both ends. Thank you so much, and over to you, Shubhayu.
Thank you so much, Meghana. As always, we benefit from your summary. This, ladies and gentlemen, are the final scores. DAV Nepal, added to those 25 points for having Gungun as the best speaker, get to 104. Westberry finished at 72. But I must say, all 4 of you, this was a very dicey topic to debate on. Quite unclear per se. You had to kind of deep dive, get into every word and find their meanings. And I must say, you all have done a splendid job of it. I think all of you need a congratulatory pat on your back. But I think the congratulations and the celebrations are in order for DAV Sushil Kedia Vishwa Bharati School, Kathmandu, Nepal. You are the winners of the Pool B Match 21. Please keep an eye out on the leaderboard to know how you are faring in your entire pool. Because as you know, the top 2 teams from each pool will go on to the quarterfinals. We have another Pool B match coming up at 5 o'clock India time, which interestingly is with a team in Nigeria. So it's 12:30 p.m. their time. We look forward to seeing all of you there. Until then, take care and goodbye.